You may not know about the ability to intersect models, as this feature is only available through context menus. However, it is a very powerful modeling tool no SketchUp user should be without. Essentially, it allows you to overlap multiple objects, create edges and surfaces where those objects intersect, resulting in new and potentially complex geometry. Start with something simple, say a cube and a sphere. Move the sphere so it overlaps the cube. Note that there are no edges where these objects intersect. They are still separate. Select both objects, right or context click on the objects, and select Intersect Faces, then With Model from the menu. Now there are edges where the objects intersect. And the final step is to delete some of the geometry to reveal the newly intersected form. You can see the different results possible to you depending on what you choose to delete or leave. To give you the most control over what objects to intersect together, let's examine the different options available to you. We have 3 different entities that are all overlapping. By selecting only 2 of the objects, I can choose to intersect only those 2 by right or context clicking, then choosing Intersect Faces, then with selection from the menu. The third object is not affected. In this way, you can exclude parts of the model that you don't want affected by the Intersect tool, and be very specific about what you do intersect. When you are intersecting groups with other objects, it becomes very important to be aware of what context you are in, as that will determine where the intersecting edges go. For example, we have 2 objects here. One is a group and one is not. If we perform an intersection while not editing the group, the intersecting edges are placed outside of the group, and moving the group always shows it is unaffected. However, if we were to reset the scene and try again, this time we'll edit the group and perform the intersection while in the context of the group. Now the intersection edges are inside and part of the group. Closing the group and moving it away shows this clearly. So always be mindful of what context you are in when you intersect a model. This leads to the final option available to you, to intersect with context. This option only becomes available when you are editing a group or component, and it allows you to limit the intersection to only those objects within the group or component. You can see in our example, by editing this group and creating an intersection only within the context of the group, nothing outside the group is affected or intersected into the group. Now that you understand the ways to intersect a model, let's look at some tips to make you more effective. One of the common tasks when intersecting is to be able to clean up the intersection afterward. It often helps to make the intersecting shape much longer than it needs to be, thus making it easy to select and delete. It also helps at times to toggle perspective off and choose an orthographic view to select and delete intersected geometry. Finally, sometimes you realize a model you are creating would be better built as a mirrored component. Simply create an intersecting plane, move it to the middle of your model and intersect it, delete half, create your components, and mirror it to continue.